Good to be back.
So, how did it go?
Um, yeah, so like really enjoyed the 3 days. Like first of all, lovely place. Really, really is really nice. Weather was really nice as well, nice and hot.
Was that your
Yeah,
first time in Malaga?
no, so I've been to Malaga before, but I've definitely seen like a bit more of it this trip. Um, yeah, it was really second time. I would definitely go back for like a longer holiday. Really nice. But yeah, so I had an early heat. Um, so I thought, the heat's not gonna play a big part.
Yeah,
Come off the sled push, I thought, it's fine. Sled pull, I was dripping. Like it just
really?
got so hot so quick. Which like just added another factor to the race. Four corners, um, but like really harsh corners, really tight. Um, but other than that, like the course was fine. Like stations nice and laid out. Rock zone wasn't too big. Um, yeah, I would say that it was only the running that was a little bit harsh. So I wouldn't say it was a slow course, but I don't think it was a quick course either. Just for that. Um, but no, it was good. Old school wall balls didn't have the digital
Oh, no
screens.
way.
So no, and then the judge kept shouting like numbers from behind as well, but I don't speak Spanish, so I had no idea what they were what she was saying. So I literally had to stop just so I could just look at the checker. And I was a little bit fatigued as well, so it was
Yeah.
a good excuse to stop. But no, all in all, good. I mean, I was gutted when I crossed the finish line though, because obviously I had a 3 minute penalty after me time, and I'm thinking.
Oh, from what?
So I was thinking, well, what is that off? I got one warning on the sled pull for my back foot. And I thought, well, he hadn't told us after that I got a penalty. So there was a head. So I got my picture, which had 107 on the screen. I'm in a huff because
Yeah.
I just go in a huff. The head judge was just off to the picture where you get your pictures taken. So I asked him what was my penalty for, or where can I find out what my penalty was for. He didn't know. He just kept saying, "You won't know until you get your email tomorrow." And I'm thinking, I don't even think that's the case.
Yeah.
But then I knew a guy, coincidentally, who was also finished just away from the pen, and he had his phone. So he got like my splits up on the Rocks Fit app. And my farmer's carry was 4:45, so it was on that station. I got the 3 minute penalty, and I thought, well, I'd, I know for a fact I done the farmer's carry. I know I done 2 laps again because I put the kettlebell down 3 times. I'm not going to do that on one lap. So I
Right.
just so, but I was pushed for time. My checkout for the apartment was 11 a.m. And I thought, even if I get the 3 minute penalty taken off, it's not a PB, so I'm not going to make a big song and dance of it.
Yeah.
Um, and I wanted a shower, so I wanted to get back to the apartment before checkout. So I was in a taxi. I was calmed down a little bit, went on my phone, checked my splits in the taxi, and the penalty had been taken off. But
But the pictures
I've
have
missed.
107.
But the pitch I'll have 107, so I'll just not use it. But I had a videographer there.
Nice.
I seen someone posted saying they had availability, so I was there by myself, no one to take pictures or anything, so I just got one. So maybe I just use his stuff anyway. But the one thing I missed out, I actually knew someone in my heat, travel all that way, and I know someone in my heat.
That's cool.
He got the same penalty because we were talking after the race, and then obviously you finish similar times to people in your heat, and everyone had the 3 minutes on the board, 3 minute penalties. So I think there was an issue with the sensor. It wasn't picking up people going on the second lap, but it's resolved now, and I've just checked. I'm like ninth in my age group, so
That's
I'm
solid.
happy. I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's solid. It's probably, yeah, like some if everybody's finishing with the same 3-minute
hmm
penalty.
I'm
Uh,
guessing everyone started asking this head judge, so he's probably just said like, we need to
yeah.
look into this. So yeah.
That's that's awesome. I'm happy for you. And for those that are tuning in, we're just catching up on Ross's just recent race in Malaga. He had his solo. So that's what we were discussing. So walk me through the your strategy for the race.
Yeah, so sorry, my cameras went a bit blurry there. I'm just gonna try and I'm not sure why that is. Um, yeah, so I went into today with a slightly different plan. I wanted the first half of me race to be a little bit more reserved. The thinking behind that is I wanted to really push on after the burpees or even after the row maybe, and really like attack those last three stations and finish strong. Um, it did and it didn't go to plan. I did the first four stations a little bit reserved, like I said, but without doing them really slow. I've looked at my splits and I'm quite happy with my sleds. I think top 20 sled push and even higher sled pull, maybe ninth. So yeah, really happy with them. I just couldn't kick on the way I wanted to kick on in the back half of the race, and I'm just putting that down to the heat inside the venue. I managed to maintain my pace, but I just couldn't pick it up.
It
Um,
wasn't air conditioned.
it probably was, but that was still really hot for me.
Good enough. Yeah. How hot was it
Yeah.
then? Like outside in normal like air
Outside
temp?
was like 23, 24 degrees again. It felt hotter than that. It did feel hotter than that, but honestly, coming from where I'm from, that's holiday weather. It's really hot. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
but so yeah, I couldn't push on the way I wanted to those last four stations. I finished really strong on the wall balls. Massive improvement on me wall balls from my last race. I think 75 seconds quicker.
Nice.
So yeah, I just couldn't get into the 103s, but I said before the race I would have been happy with a 104 and got the 104. And like I say, I'm ninth age group at the minute. So yeah, all in all, good day, good trip. Really happy with how it went.
That's awesome. You're happy? Are you happy with the paces you were holding to on the runs?
I think they could have been a little bit quicker, if I'm being critical. Again, though, it's all right saying they could be quicker. Today, I couldn't have ran them any quicker. Um, it's not like I purposely held back on those last four runs. I physically couldn't have ran any quicker, and that's just me being brutally honest. I think the runs is the easiest station to make time on. Um, and yeah, I just couldn't repeat myself. I just
Yeah.
couldn't push on in the back half of the race, which was the plan. But still maintained me pace without picking it up the way I wanted to. But all in all, happy. But yeah, probably the run in this race is where I could have made time.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's that like it just goes back to the conversations that we were having about does it make more sense to come in like longer or put a bunch of time and effort into the running? And when certain point in your like Hyrox skill set, it's just like fine tuning. It's like trying to shave seconds
It's just
off of,
finding that balance as well.
yeah,
Um,
like where to push, where to ease up a little bit. And
but I think that's just another reason why the sport's like brilliant, challenging, hard, whichever way you want to put it, because there's always areas in which you can improve. You're never gonna be top. Um, and that's why I like it. You're always challenging with yourself. I've said in previous weeks I'm competitive within myself. So I'll go away on the back of this and work on areas that I know I struggled with at the back half of the race. Um, that's what I'm going to work on. Compromised running for those stations in the second half of the race. So yeah, I think you're never you're never satisfied in Hyrox. I don't think. You could have a good race and there'd always be a little a station where you think I could have done better there, or I could have shaved seconds off this station. I feel like everyone's like that though. that little competitive edge, always wanting to be better. And yeah, that's why I love the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. The always looking back at the races and the split times in hindsight, you're like, I know I could have done that 5, 10 seconds faster. Um,
Yeah.
but it's hard to know how to pace, especially at the beginning. You don't know how you're gonna feel at the end. And I'm more of the mindset of like start slow and finish fast, but also like when you're racing to compete, you don't want to give up so much time at the beginning that it ends up like too big of a gap for you to close in on towards the end. Because it's not like it's not exhausting to do the first 4 stations. It's still tiring.
Yeah, I think today what I think it may have been different if I was coming into the stations 20th, 25th or something like that. Because I know what I'm like, and I'd be like, oh, I'm too far back. But even though I was reserved those first four stations, I think the lowest I come in the stations in my heat was like fourth.
Oh
And then
wow.
after the sled pull, I went out in second, and that's still me like keeping a little bit back. Honestly, I'm just putting it down to the heat, being abroad in a
Yeah,
hot
for sure.
venue, why I couldn't kick on. But yeah, I did like that sort of strategy and the pacing for me first four. I'll just work on the second half of the race now and hopefully put it
Yeah.
all together in my next one.
Yeah. You got to find some place near you where if you're going to these hot climates, you got to find a place where you can kick on the heat inside the gym and just practice in a 80 degrees or, 25 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, got to be done. But yeah, I'll
Yeah.
work on that. How um how are you feeling for Saturday?
Yeah, I feel really well prepared. I have my final little quick like activation run today, and then we'll probably do a shakeout run tomorrow once we land in Mexico. I'm just doing pretty short, like 100-meter sprints today, and they're not even really sprints. They're more just like 100 meters at like race pace or slightly slower than race pace, just to get the body moving. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, I feel good. I feel physically very healthy, which is good compared to when coming into Vegas, I felt like I was fighting off getting like avoiding being sick the whole week because my fiance had the flu, like she got it the week before, literally like the Friday before the race. Um, and that whole week, like I was trying to avoid contact with her at every cost. No hugs, no kisses, no nothing. I was just like, just let me get through this race. And I definitely caught a little bit of something, but it wasn't full blown coming into that race. And I could feel it kind of eating at me, like it took more energy out of me. So,
Yeah.
and that was my fastest race that I did in Vegas. So I'm excited to come into this being healthy and seeing like now that I'm even stronger. I would assume that I'm also a bit faster. I didn't put a crazy ton of effort into running like I did in my previous block as I did this block. This block, it was a lot of focus on getting through the sleds and like lactate clearance, being able
Yeah.
to, um, just get more comfortable coming out of those stations and coming into them and hitting the sleds hard. Um, I feel good. Yeah, I feel ready. Me and my partner are ready to roll. We're hoping for a podium. That's like the stretch goal is a podium. And
Yeah.
then the big goal is to come in and finally do sub 60.
Nice. I've put the work in, so good luck. You just got to go out there and smash it, which I've got no
Exactly.
doubt you as well now.
So that's what I'm
What time's your heat, sorry?
we're, we're in the evening. The pro dog 17 or 19. So 7 p.m. 7 p.m. local time, Mexico, but where I'm,
Mexico,
yeah, in California, we'll be 2 hours behind. So it'll be 5 p.m. California time, 7 p.m. Mexico time.
which makes it midnight-ish
Morning.
here.
Oh,
Yeah. Is it 8 hours in front of you? What time you got there now?
1:34 p.m.
8 hours. Yeah, so
Yes, 7
1
p.m.
o'clock,
Yeah, 1 in the morning.
one morning, something like that. Yeah. I'll wake up. I'll track it.
No pressure at all. I do not. You do not need to be sitting there refreshing an app at 1 in the morning. You can look at it
Yeah, no.
next morning.
Yeah, next morning.
Um, yeah, but we're excited. So just been trying to, keep my nervous system calm this whole week and try and get as good a sleep. But I feel like I've been doing something right because I have my little, and I have had two two nights this week of like almost a 90 sleep score, which for me is like unprecedented. Usually I'm like somewhere between 65 and 75. So like any high 80s, I'm like, what happened? It's like
Yeah.
weird. Something just come down from heaven and touch me during the middle of the night. So
Do you notice a difference as well? I know your ring's telling you it was better and you've got a higher score, but are you noticing a difference in your sleep? The way you're feeling in the morning or?
I would say so. Initially, when I wake up, like today, I had, I think, like an 89 sleep score, and I think it was like a 90 readiness score. And I woke up, I was like, wow, I feel great this morning. Like, head was very clear, body felt like it had a lot of good energy, like I had been completely recharged. Sometimes on those days, I wake up and I look and I'm like, I feel like I slept great. And then I look and it's like 75. So sometimes I am like, I don't know, like it's not giving me the credit that I deserve. Um, but also sometimes too, it'll say like when it's in the 60s, then I feel like I feel it. If it's like 66, then I usually am like, I feel a little sluggish this morning, a little groggy. But I,
Yeah.
the biggest factor that I notice when I look at the data is I usually don't get enough deep sleep or REM sleep. It's like those nights I'm just always, it's all light sleep for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we're feeling excited. I think we have a pretty solid strategy going into it. Um, I'm curious to know too, because the course that we're going to be on, the first run is long, and then the rest of the other runs are like slightly short. So the first run for us is, I want to say it's like 1.5 kilometers. It's like it's you do 2.6 laps. So it ends up coming out to like 1.4 kilometers or 1.6, something like that. And but then the rest, every other run after that is only like 0.9 kilometers.
Is that so the first run, is it the third time you see in? Is that when you go in? And then is the remaining runs the second time you see in? Right.
Yeah,
Right. I
exactly.
think your first, if you were to choose a run, you'd want your first run to be the longest,
I think
personally.
so too.
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense because that way you can
Adrenaline, you're fresh.
get it out of the way. The
Yeah.
the key though in that run is not going too fast. Just making sure that probably take it even slower than the pace that we are going to be holding throughout the rest of the race, just to be conservative. Because I also think if we're competing against everybody else, people have a tendency to go out hot. And if you go out hot on a short run, so like Vegas for us was the first run was short, and then all of the other the first run was only, I want to say 600 meters or something like that, or 700 meters. And
Yeah, that is short.
but all of the other runs were 1050 meters. So the first run, everybody took that run super fast because you can kind of sell out a little bit. You're not running for that long. But
Yeah.
when it's flipped around, you have that extra distance that, and then you're going straight into the skier. I would rather push it like a little bit harder on the following runs, like after the skier or after the sled push, just to kind of see where we're at. Down
Yeah,
there.
definitely. I think the plan you're going in with, just to be that little bit more concerned on the first run, is so much better. I think when you're chasing like sub 60 or when people are chasing sub 60, I think everyone thinks they need to be flat out the whole race. You do have a little bit more time than you think. Granted, mine was the open division, but I think I've told you before, we only ran it. or 22s, and we got a sub 60. So if you can finish really strong and reserve your energy and just go in a little bit slower, staying slower, it won't be slow, but you know what I'm saying. Just
Yeah,
just sit back a little bit on your first run and just finish the race really strong. No doubt you'll get it.
yeah, that's the goal. I think our station plan is pretty solid too. So my partner is a bit stronger than me. Um, a little better runner, a little bit physically stronger. Um, and he is going to be starting and ending most of the stations, but the first two, so the skier, I'm going to come in and I'm going to start and then he'll finish. And then the sled push, we'll split 50-50. So I'll start it and he'll finish. But then the
Yeah,
sled pull, he's going to start because
it's
it's just,
harder.
yeah, it's heavier when the rope is long. So he'll start
Yeah,
and I'll finish possibly the final length. He might do 3/4 and then I'll finish the last like 25 or last 25%. And then
yeah,
the rest of it is pretty 50-50 across the board. Um, the row he does more. He probably does 600 meters on the row, and I do a little bit less. So I take the middle block on the row.
yeah. You'll know, but you just need to make sure you keep communicating throughout the race. If things need to change,
Right.
that's fine. But yeah, just keep on top of each other and you'll be fine, honestly, as well.
Yeah. We're excited. Excited,
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
nervous, just want to make sure that like we get there, we race late in the day and we have one other friend like pair that's we're flying with and they race the women's pro. So they're racing at like 2 p.m. So our race is at 7, so we'll watch them, hang out, do whatever, probably, get a final meal in and then, chill at the hotel and then go back and
Yeah. Are you
race.
making a long weekend of it? Or are you stopping one night coming back? Or
Yeah, I didn't really take much time off from work for it. So we are gonna fly out tomorrow morning on Friday.
how
Then
long's the flight? Sorry.
not too bad so if we were to fly in the United States, there's no like direct flight from San Diego to Monterey, Mexico. But if you fly out of Tijuana, it's like a 30 minutes to down to Tijuana to cross the border. So if you fly to Tijuana, there's a bunch of direct flights. And so we are going to fly out of Tijuana, and it should be about a 3 or 3.5 hour flight.
Right.
So
Right.
not awful.
Yeah. It's 10 hours to get to Mexico from Newcastle. I've flown it as well.
Yeah, it's funny because like I think about it every time I've flown to Europe, there's always been a layover at Heathrow Port. And usually that's a 9 hour flight from
Yeah.
LAX from Los
Yeah.
Angeles. And I mean, I need to come and my fiance too. We want to take a trip to the UK and like do all of it. So maybe I'll try and plan, maybe next year, plan that around one of the Hyroxes that's in the UK. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't know when they do Manchester or London or all of those, but that
I
would
was
be
going to say, you've mentioned London before, haven't you? Yeah.
cool. I know, because what Cardiff is in the UK also, right?
Yeah, that's it. There's a Cardiff race in 2 weeks, actually. It's impressive as well. It's at the Principality Stadium, which is Wales's like international rugby stadium. So that would be a good one to do. Um, that's a bit of a even that one's. I mean, not for you, maybe with flights and where you go to, but that's awkward to get to. I think if I was to drive that, that's 5.5 hours for me. Um, but yeah,
So Newcastle is like south,
north,
north.
northeast. Yeah, we're not the south. We'd get offended. Anyone
Okay.
from up here, the north are yeah, not let's not go into that. But no, we're north, we're northeast. So yeah, London's still a long drive. There's direct trains. There is a fast train down there. But yeah, we're in the north.
I just looked it up. Newcastle. Okay, so is this, I might be being silly here, but do you know in the scene, in the opening scene of Harry Potter and the number six, the what is it? Half-Blood Prince in the movie, the Death Eaters
Right?
fly through and they break down a bridge. Is
Do
that
they?
it? Yeah, is that the bridge that they break? Let me see.
Not sure. Let's have a look. What did he say it was called?
Newcastle. They might have filmed some of Harry Potter in Newcastle.
It was the castle's Bamborough. The I'm sure the Bamborough Castle, which isn't too far um from
Aln
Newcastle.
Alnwick?
Alnwick Castle, sorry.
Annick.
Alnwick.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's a 30-40 minute drive.
Is it very green and like lush like that where you are, or is it very
Newcastle?
city?
No. No, it's more city. Alnwick, like up the coastline and stuff like that. Northumberland, that's nicer.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, more in the city, Newcastle.
Okay. So I want to hear more too about like your race because you kind of did a quick holiday turn around
Yeah.
out and then come back. So how was the like how did you plan out food and like preparation and like what was the day of? So from well you said you had an early race. So how did you kind of prepare from the night before to then being able to be fueled?
Yeah, so this is something I was a bit worried about. I started to panic last night because with us having an early heat, I knew I had to get an Uber quite early, and I did. When I was exploring the city yesterday, I noticed that cafes, coffee shops, and that they weren't open the time I needed to leave. So, just jumping to the how did I prepare for this morning? I just went to the shop last night and I got everything in so I could just eat in the apartment this morning. So there was no panic, like no rushing around this morning. But eating out yesterday, I decided not to get a shop in for the apartment. I just chose to eat out each
Yeah,
meal. Just meant I could get out and see the city and stuff like that. So three main meals: breakfast, dinner, tea, lunch, and dinner for you. Um, and then like snacked and carved up around that. Trying to think, there was a lot of pastries, croissants in there. Um, Convenient food as well. I'm not gonna lie. When I was like out exploring or walking to the beach or something. Last night found a nice Italians. So I just got like bruschetta, pizza.
nice.
Honestly, pizza was 10 out of 10 as well. So good. Table for one. First time I've done that
That's
inside
cool.
a restaurant. Yeah. Um, I vlogged it though. You'll be able to see a little bit in a couple of days. I'm just waiting to get some of like the race footage to put in the vlog and stuff. So yeah, that was different being on a table for one and talking to the camera and stuff like that. So there's a lot of firsts this little trip, but yeah, I loved it. But yeah, I managed with the food yesterday. Ate out quite a bit and prepared last night, ready for this morning. Just so I wasn't rushing about, and I didn't want to have that as an excuse either. I just wanted everything sorted and ready.
Yeah, it could be challenging, like the having the. I've only ran one race. It was the mixed doubles that I ran in Phoenix, where we had an early start time. It was, I want to say we started at 9 a.m., but 9 a.m. really means that you got to wake up at like 6 a.m. Then you got to get there, at least 90 minutes to 2 hours early. So we arrived at the stadium at like 7 or 7:30 and we wanted to walk around and you don't want to just go and just leave. Like you want to enjoy also the venue. And so we did all that. And then it was 8 a.m. by the time that we were starting to like warm up and stuff, because that stadium gave us a full hour. It's kind of interesting. I don't know what it was like for you at this race, but I've had some races where you can go into the warm-up area an hour early, and then I've had some where they don't let you in until 30 minutes early.
Yeah, I've been knocked back to warming up earlier. I can't remember where it was, and it was 30 minutes. Yeah. It's funny you've mentioned getting there 2 hours early and waiting up at 6. I was up at 6 this morning, but it was completely the opposite for me this morning. I thought, right, I'll get up, I'll have my breakfast, 7 o'clock, which I did. Last night I looked how long it would take in an Uber to get there, so I thought, right, I'll leave at 7:15, get there for 7:30. Booked my Uber, and it took so long to come. So I don't think the Uber came to the apartment till 10 to 8. I'm racing at 9. It's 16 minutes to the venue, so I'm starting to panic. I was saying I didn't want to panic about my food, but I was starting to panic about getting to the venue. Then I was thinking I'm gonna have to get a bike. I'll cycle there or whatever. Um, I got to the arena at 11 minutes past 8. So I had 49 minutes. I walked in. There was no one at registration, so I was straight in. Um, Quickly met up with a videographer guy, put my bag in bag drop, and I was in warm up area for I think it was 25 to 9. I'm not a massive I'm not massive on warm ups. I'm not saying they're not important because they definitely are, but I do want my heart rate to to rise to get up there to get race ready, but I don't want to be up there for too long. Um, so although it wasn't intentional, the times I got to the venue this morning, it worked out for me warm up. I still got a decent warm up in, but there was a point where I was panicking that I wasn't actually going to make the race or just get there 5 minutes before me race. But
That's
no, it was
scary.
all good in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, that is scary. And it's tough because even though you scheduled the Uber the night before, you're still like waiting on them to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm I go back and forth because during training, when I'm in the whole training block, I like having a long warm up. Like I could if I know I'm gonna go into a hard session, I might warm up for like 35 to 40 minutes, and that's, you know, 15 minutes on the bike, then another like 10 to 15 minutes of like dynamic exercises with the bands and like doing all the activation stuff, and then um, some stretches before I actually even get into the workout itself. But
Yeah.
on race day, I usually will start like priming my muscles before I get to the warm up area. So I'll bring like my little bands, like that go around your knees, and you can do little like hip flexor stuff with them. So I'll do those little activation exercises before I get into the warm up area. But then once I get into the warm up area, really all I want to do, I just want to keep blood flowing. I just want to sit on the bike and just kind of ride it pretty lightly for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, just to get the muscles warm and the body flowing. But I don't want my heart rate really like, is adrenaline's pumping. So I usually say like above 120, because typically
Yeah.
you got to kind of factor what your heart up that whole day because your adrenaline. Um, so I might do like some strides running in the area, or if I can get on one of the treadmills, get some strides in for about like 5 to 7 minutes. But after that, I that's really it. I might touch the rower for a second or the skier to just open up my torso and my upper body. But something I actually learned from the last race is I don't think I want to touch the sleds anymore during the warm up. And I say that because it's happened both times where the sleds in the warm up area were so different than the sleds than when I got on the race floor, and it psyched me out. When
Yeah.
in the warm up area, I could barely move them. I like trying to push. I was like, this is using every ounce of energy, and then I got scared, and it made my heart rate go up and nervous, and so I've just kind of in this race, I'm just like, whatever will be, will be. I've trained the sleds, and I've trained them hard, and I've trained them
Yeah.
way over race weight.
I was gonna
They're
say you've been training them heavy.
so heavy. And so for me, I'm like, I don't want to go in, try and use up a bunch of energy trying to move some
Yeah,
sleds that don't matter. So that's we'll see what my partner wants to do, but I'll just tell him I'm not touching the sleds, let him warm up if he
yeah.
wants.
M- Yeah, my warm-up's similar. 20, 25 minutes though. Mine's a little bit shorter. And there's no what's the word? There is intention, but there's not loads of intensity. So I'm like you, I'll jump on the bike first, I'll just get my legs moving, and then I will do some stretching, lower back, because that seems to stiffen up for me during a race. Legs, leg heavy the race. But then I'll just work through each station, but just to get the body moving and get
Yeah,
used to those movements rather than skiing at a certain pace or pushing sled at a certain weight. It's literally just to get my body used to the movements that I'm going to be doing in 10, 15 minutes time. So
literally.
yeah, I'm quite similar to you.
One of the things I need to do too is because, there might be some grocery stores or something. So I'll try and see once we get there to stop at a market and get, a bunch of bananas and maybe like a loaf of bread or
Yeah,
bagels or something that I know is not gonna like upset my stomach, but that'll be good carbs. I typically really like rice, but when I was in Vegas, I tried bringing rice and it's just more challenging because it's you have to cook it. And so I went and I got those like microwavable rice packs, but
yeah,
so they're already cooked. You just have to heat it up and then whatever like moisture that's in there somehow comes out. But
yeah.
the place that we stayed at didn't have a microwave. And then I brought them to the venue because I was like, well, maybe the venue might have a microwave somehow. And nothing did. So I ended up just eating like pretty hard cold rice. And it wasn't a good experience. And I was like, I'm gonna learn from this. So this time I'm gonna go with bagels because I think bagels and I'll have my bananas and maybe some almond butter or like a peanut butter and
Y-
jelly, like the
Yeah.
small, like those uncrustable sandwiches.
hmm Yeah. Yeah, good shout. Things like that are easier than rice, aren't they? Yeah. I was I was out and about having dinner tea yesterday, and I just realized that I'd forgot my carb gels. I just didn't pack them. So I was straight onto Google Maps. I was looking for like cycling stores or like running shops. I found one and I bought two carb gels, but not the brand I use, which I thought could be dangerous.
Yeah,
Um, so I have one on the start line, and I had one of them. It was a different flavor, different brand, so strong. Like I just feared that I was going to need the toilet like
yeah,
instantly. So I just there and then I knew I wasn't going to take my second gel. I don't even think I finished the first one.
really.
Um, yeah. So again, it's not an excuse or anything. It was just something that I would have preferred to have.
What brand?
But I normally have SIS Sport and Science,
Oh yeah.
or
I think
Science and Sports. Sorry.
I think
Um,
that's what I'm gonna use here. Let me see. I get like a big thing from the feed, but I tried one of their yeah,
yeah, that's them. I have the orange flavor. What flavor is that?
this one is salted strawberry.
No, I've never had that.
It's really good and it's not too strong because sometimes for me, I like it pretty like I don't really want to taste the flavor that much, especially when you're like huffing and puffing and now all of a sudden you're trying to like eat something and
Yeah,
you just want to gag. I love
yeah,
how I don't know if the ones that you take are the same, but it's like water. Like I can
yeah,
you just kind of like
yeah,
squirt
yeah.
it into your mouth and then it goes
hmm
down super fast. It has electrolytes in it. So, but
Yeah, so they're good. I was so like disappointed in myself not packing them because I think these were berry that I bought, and I think they're just Energize brand or so. I'd
just
never heard of
random.
it. Yeah. And the best way I can describe it is like, have you ever had diluted juice without water? It was just so strong. Like they were just horrible. They really were. I had like one mouthful and I thought, like this just is such a bad idea.
No.
Yeah, so um but first time actually I'm jumping back. First time I've ever stopped for a drink in a race today. After the
Really?
burpees, I'm saying stopped. I just quickly grabbed an electrolyte on the way past, just purely for the heat. And I think it was partly down to I didn't have a carb gel as well, and it was about that time where I would normally have one. I needed something, so I just grabbed the electrolyte. Didn't cost us any time or anything.
Yeah. It's tough for me because I don't know. I feel like in all of my races, I usually will stop twice for water. And it's usually after um it's either coming out of the sled pull, I'll throw like try and throw one back, or coming in after the sled run, like the run from the sled pull going into the burpees.
Yeah, yeah.
Um But yeah, it also depends too on like where they are, if I'm gonna pass by
hmm
it or if it's at the like going towards the out. But usually
These were good. These
twice.
were good today. These were right beside the. There was one right beside the out from stations four onwards. And then stations one to three, there was one next to there as well. These were pretty quick if you wanted one.
Oh, that's good.
Um, yeah.
The electrolytes that they have there, or did they have Red Bull?
No, so electrolytes. They give out Red Bull after the race though, and I just never take it. I don't know what, I don't know how anyone can stomach a Red Bull after a race, but
No, it's crazy. For every single race that I've done, they are also handing out Red Bull during the race. They handed out water and then there's a Red Bull. And it's happened multiple times where I go to grab and I look at it and it's fucking Red Bull. And so I don't drink it because who the hell wants Red Bull? But realistically, who
yeah,
the hell is drinking a Red Bull when you are like it's carbonated? It's like there's nothing gr good. I think I'd rather have Gatorade. Just put Gatorade out there, or
yeah.
if Red Bull has some sort of carb drink like that. But
They might do it like I say. I tend not to grab a drink during a race, not on those water stations anyway. Um, I might have just hit lucky today that there was a an orange flavored electrolyte.
Yeah,
But yeah, after the race, I always say no to the Red Bull and I just grab the water. Um,
the water in the can.
yeah, no, just bottle.
Really?
Yeah,
Maybe it's a different experience in Europe than it is in in the United States. Because after every single race that I've done, they're handing out water, and it's like Hyrox branded water in a can, and
right.
then they hand out non-alcoholic beer from like some local company, I think. And then they also have the electrolytes. It's like my protein electrolytes that they're handing out.
Yeah, I've
And
not noticed the beer. Like, again, it might just be oh the alcohol-free beer. I might just not have noticed it. I might just be dying at that point and just take the water and just I'm oblivious to everything else.
yeah. What was it like working with the videographer?
Yeah, so if I'm honest, I didn't notice him that much during the race. But before the race, we just met up before at the warm-up area. Um, and we just went over sort of when be getting the documents. They'll be in a shared drive and stuff. And yeah, didn't notice him during the race and didn't see him after the race. Didn't have to. Everything we spoke about before the race, he went over and like I say, I shot off after the race as well. So didn't have a load of time with him. But I've seen a couple of like previews of things and they look really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing them probably tomorrow, yeah.
That's awesome. Maybe at some point I'll have to try and hire a videographer for a race because this usually I'm always there when there's friends, but I'm doing one in Salt Lake City in Utah. And I don't know if there's going to be anybody else there with me. I might just be solo, fly out. That might also
Yeah,
be the first solo race that I do. and it's at elevation. It's like 7,000 feet elevation. So
Straight in the deep end.
brutal, brutal. Yeah, I'll probably do
Yeah.
open solo to start. Um,
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was the only reason that, and I didn't actively go looking for him. It's just I'm in a Hyrox, well, Facebook couple of groups, and this guy just said he had availability, and I had no one there to get any pictures or videos, and I thought, why not? Like, there's not going to be many times I'm traveling by
yeah,
myself. I'll just do it. And actually, it's you'll know yourself when you've got other people watching you and cheering you on. It does push you, and I know it might sound weird, but just knowing that he was there watching me, recording me, that actually
made a
pushed it on a
difference.
little bit because the second half of the race where I was tired, I would never throw the towel in, but it was at that point where I was like, oh, I could just back off a bit here. But then I was like, no, I have actually got someone watching it, I suppose. So that did push it on a little bit. Might be stupid, but
Yeah. No, I don't think that's stupid. I think it makes an impact. Having an audience and knowing that there's people that are watching you, that are rooting for you, or in your case, being captured on camera, you're like, I need to make sure that I look good on camera, that I'm going as hard as I can on camera. I would be the same way. I also, because I'm trying to think. In Anaheim, there was a massive audience watching. There was like 30 people that were there watching my race. It was everybody from the gym that I go to, that everybody was doing
yeah,
Anaheim. So it was really cool because I had also gone, and my fiance wasn't able to come to that race because she had some work presentation thing that was like big that she couldn't get out of because she's
yeah,
like a manager in the department. Um, and so I was bummed, obviously, that she couldn't come, and it was also my first race. Then there was another friend who was supposed to come, but he got sick and canceled, couldn't come anymore. And so I drove by myself, got there, met up with my partner when we were there, but I just thought we race late, there's going to be nobody there to watch, no one's going to stay, everyone's going to want to go home, or go be with their families, but like everybody stayed, and it was such a cool feeling. And then the
yeah. It's class.
same thing in Vegas. My parents, my dad and my stepmom actually flew out to Vegas to come
Oh,
watch.
really?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
yeah, that was a great experience. And then Phoenix was
I've had
smaller.
I've had my parents watch my last solo at Birmingham. Um, I've always been. It doesn't matter what age. I'm 33 now, but it doesn't matter how old I've been when I've played football, cricket. I've always liked. More so, my dad would come and watch us play football, but I do like me mum and dad come to watch us. They've come to watch like local gym competitions. I don't know. They might be two of seven spectators or
Yeah.
something. Nah, I'll always like it. I really like them coming to watch us.
It's special. It makes you feel like a kid again, you know?
Mm.
Mom and dad are there watching, and that was kind of how it felt. And I could hear, and even going back into some of the videos where people sent me, you can hear my dad, like the loudest one, yelling at me, and it took me back to when I was like a little kid competing in sports, and I could hear my dad yelling and cheering me on from, the spectator from the stands or
Yeah,
line. It's
yeah,
cool.
no, it's good. They get into it as well, like you say, because it was actually my mum. So on the Birmingham one, where I was slightly disappointed with it. Well, obviously, first of all, they'll just tell you how good you were, whether you were or not, because
Yeah.
that's what parents do. But then it was actually my mum who pointed out my sled push technique wasn't up to scratch. And that's coming from someone who doesn't know a lot about it, to be fair, but she watched one race and just compared me to someone in the next lane and noticed I was pushing different to them and they were so much faster. I was just pushing with straight arms, um, whereas I get right into the sled push now, the sled now,
Yeah.
shoulders, arms, using me body, using me momentum. Um, Basically just because me mom told us to. So
Shout out, mom.
yeah, new Hyrox coach.
That's wish us luck.
Yeah, honestly, good luck. You'll not need luck. You've put the work in, but nah, I'll be keeping an eye on the times. No doubt you'll hit your goal, but yeah, go well.
I hope so. I hope so. The nerves are there, but feeling good. All right,
And then
Ross.
I'll hear about your race on our next call in
Yeah,
depth.
I'll tell you all the details. Well,
Yeah.
get some rest. Congratulations again. That sounds like a an adventure to remember for sure. So I'm glad that
Yeah,
everything
definitely
worked
loved it.
out. All right,
Yeah,
brother.
thank you, mate.
I will see you. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you soon. Good
All right.
luck.
Thank you, sir. Bye.